What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, that you had a very happy Thanksgiving. And we hope that the beginning of the week has you in a better mood with the Dallas Cowboys getting ready to play on Thursday night football. It is time for our weekly Dallas Cowboys Roundtable. Been a weird couple of weeks, obviously, with the team playing on back-to-back Thursdays, but we are here every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Nonetheless, we have assembled quite the cast for you this particular evening. Some are saying the greatest crossover event of all time, the SB Nation version of the Avengers. Going in clockwise order here, we have Tony Catalina, aka Mr. Catalina, the homeowner he is. So if you have any recommendations on things to spruce up his casa, let him know on Twitter at Tony_Catalina. Next up in line, it is the one and only Dan Rogers, aka Danny Phantom, the best Nickelodeon cartoon, some people are saying. So congratulations to him for that particular name. Underneath him, again, just in terms of how we're presented here on our YouTube channel, you can, of course, listen to this on the Blog of the Boys podcast network, where you can also hear every Saturday on 2 Minute Warning, the Professor Aidan Davis, here to spread some knowledge and spread some wisdom. Going to be an interesting conversation tonight. I'm very excited about it. Next up, I don't know what his wrestling name is. We can figure that out, but it is from Chop Sports, from Jersey Boys, from all over the world, Dave Sturchio on Twitter at Dave Sturchio. And finally, it is the wisest of us all, the one and only, the OG, Tom Ryle on Twitter at Tom Ryle BTB. Dan, I go to you. How was your Thanksgiving? What did you eat? What are you thankful for? Are you excited that the Cowboys are playing on another Thursday? Back-to-back nights. You get to watch Survivor and then the Cowboys. Pretty interesting week for you.
Yeah, it's great. I overate. We overcooked and sent our family away with a bunch of food. So it was delightful in that manner. I didn't get to put up my Christmas stuff like I typically do. So I'm feeling a little lazy right now. I'm feeling lethargic. I'm kind of feeling like the Cowboys, to be honest.
That's a little bit disconcerting. I guess we'll go ahead and just dive right into it. We go first to our resident Chicken Little. Tony Canalita, you were on the Blog and the Boys post-game show with me on Thanksgiving night, and we unpacked really the horror that, unveiled itself in front of us, in front of all of the world. Something like 1 billion people watched the Cowboys disappoint us all. 3 straight Thanksgiving Day losses, as Dan Rogers told us recently on Dallas Cowboys Roundup. And so, Tony, I put it to you. We're going to ask everybody here, and if you're watching with us live, we want to know, is it time to panic?
It's not time to panic.
It's a yes or no question, Tony. You got to decide one way or the other.
It's complex. You got to peel the onion of this team layer by layer. I said on record on our 2 Minute Warning podcast that if we came back after the holiday and we were 7-4, I might be smashing the panic button a little bit. I've come to my senses in understanding that, the cavalry is coming back. It looks like, there may be some help on the way, but, this week has been a challenge. I mean, every day, it seems like we're rolling with another punch here. I'm not completely panicking because everything they want and need is right still in front of them. With help coming, they just need to get through this new, wave of issues going on. But 7-4 does not taste as good as 8-3 could have.
Aidan, the last time you were on a roundtable, the Dallas Cowboys were 7-2, as you missed last week's discussion after the loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Some are saying this is your fault. Are you panicked? Are you worried? Are you concerned after the Cowboys have lost 3 of their last 4 games, granted to AFC teams in each and every one of them?
I'm kind of taking the position where I'm panicking, but the panic can be easily I'm fine to just put this stretch behind us if I see any type of indication that this team can live up to the pre-bye Cowboys that we saw. I'm hoping that Cooper and Lamb eventually bring that, but I just don't think they're as impactful as what we've been seeing.
Sturch, I mentioned that Tony is our resident Chicken Little. You are a resident Homer. If anybody listened to Jersey Boys on Monday, which was yesterday at the time of our discussion here, it was everybody else's fault. The refs. Dak didn't make any bad throws. I mean, the Cowboys just were victims on Thanksgiving Day. How could the world set them up to fail like that? Donnie Sturch says, I don't think it's time to panic yet. Got depth coming back. You lose against the Saints by a last-minute field goal, but a clean game, no. But if you lose by 2 or more scores, bring out the Chicken Little, which would be Tony, your co-host, Sturch. So you don't seem like you are ready to smash the glass, Sturch. Are you of the mindset? It does, CeeDee Lamb's going to play on Thursday. Looks like DeMarcus Lawrence. Doesn't look like Amari Cooper. We'll get into how the Cowboys might be without him on the field. But Neville Gallimore is making his way back, but Tristan Hill suspended 2 games. We found out today from Kate Urban, Brent Urban's wife, that he had season-ending surgery. So there are a lot of moving parts. Has that pushed you in one direction, Sturch?
No, as far as panic goes, no. I'm not panicking because of where we play, because of our schedule remaining. Like, there's a lot of optimism in front of us. I'll just take it right from the horse's mouth himself. Dak Prescott claims that he's pissed. I'm kind of pissed.
He was pissed last week, though, and then they put up a stinker against the Raiders. So, I mean, what does being pissed mean anymore?
No, I think it's more frustration because he knows what kind of team is on the field and what kind of team they have, and they just haven't executed. And I know that's kind of like coach speak and player speak when they're just like, well, we just have to execute. Well, I understand that, but like, I think that these guys are they're playing from behind. They're slow starts, which is very familiar for this team, not in this specific team, like the 2021 team, but slow starts. We've all, as guys that cover the team, we have seen these before. They have to get off to a fast start. I think honestly, you get in front of a live dome on a Thursday night, and it's just going to be very loud, and you would hope that the fast start happens. But I'm more pissed off than panicked.
Tom, I want to come to you now because football is a funny animal. I don't know, and let me be very clear. I listen to everything we put out at Blogging the Boys. So 2-Minute Warning comes out on Saturday. Despite how pissed off I am about the Thanksgiving Day loss, I'm listening. You can hear Tony Catalina, Dave Sturchio, Aidan Davis every Saturday, by the way. But Tom, if you're anything like me, I didn't want anything to do with any national show on Friday. I didn't want to hear any national podcast. I didn't want anything. I mean, nothing. But then the Eagles lose on Sunday. Give it all. Give me everything. I'm back. I'm hooked. I love the NFL. I love football. It's beautiful chaos. And so, Tom, the Cowboys did get some help, obviously. Did keep their level of breathing room thanks to the New York Giants beating the Philadelphia Eagles. And what's more, my read on this is they're kind of almost firmly entrenched towards the path to the number 4 seed, and it looks like they'll draw the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card round, and they don't look intimidating, losers of 3 straight. So, Tom, the Cowboys, if we're feeling good about anything, it's about things that have nothing to do with them, which is, nice, but it does feel a little bit empty.
Yeah, it does, and I'm not panicking, but ask me again on Friday, that may be a completely different answer depending on how they look in a game that I have no idea what is coming between all the turmoil with the Cowboys, with having to, have Dan Quinn fill in for the ailing Mike McCarthy, who's in the COVID protocol, with what's going to be a shorthanded wide receiver core again, with big question marks about the running game, is the O-line going to get settled down, with the defense coming off a real mess when they might need Dan Quinn to be focusing on them and not having to think about the team as a whole. And now we're looking at Taysom Hill as the starting quarterback for the Saints, and I've got no idea what that's going to mean for the game because, he's had some good games and he's had some just really incompetent games. So I don't know what's going to happen. And I just need to see them put something together on Thursday. So maybe we'll have a little bit better idea. But that's been two eggs in a row they've laid that I didn't expect them to lay.
Ironically, they laid the eggs, which happens in a coop, and they did it without Amari Cooper. So, Dan,
Thanksgiving was a laid egg.
It was a late egg. We don't have to relitigate what happened on Thanksgiving Day. Because Sturch, we all know what you believe, that the Cowboys are the best team in the world. They're not flawed in any way, shape, or form. Dan, I want to ask you something before I actually ask you something. You're Pacific Northwest guy, land of maple syrup, as we've discussed. You're it's colder there. Do you drink tea, Dan? Like hot, warm tea?
Yeah, I prefer iced tea.
Are we talking sweet, unsweet? Like what's the deal here?
Slightly sweetened, not overly sweetened.
Okay, that's fine. This is more of a hot tea question because the subject at hand is reading the Dallas Cowboys tea leaves. And Dan, you're really good at this. As mentioned, you were the one who noted the Cowboys have lost 3 straight Thanksgiving Day games, which is really sad. I know Sturch talked about that as well on Jersey Boys. But Dan, ahead of the Minnesota Vikings game, it was nothing but Dak's on track to play. He's going to play. Everything's looking good. Doesn't play. Ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs game, Tyron Smith's looking good. Looks like he's going to come back. He's looking great. He's coming back from his injury. Doesn't play. Ahead of Thanksgiving Day against Vegas, CeeDee Lamb, I know he was in the concussion protocol. He's looking really good. Looks like CeeDee Lamb's going to play. Doesn't wind up playing. Here we are now getting ready for New Orleans. And I thought this was very interesting. Mike McCarthy, as Tom noted, obviously in COVID protocol, our best wishes are with him and his family. But Mike McCarthy, Dan, came out on Tuesday and said, if Amari can't go on Wednesday, I don't think he plays. That is extremely unlike Mike McCarthy in my mind. I mean, I've never seen him, be this open. We know him to kind of be this close to the vest guy. Do you think Mike McCarthy is doing the inverse of what he did before, and maybe even doing what he did before with Zeke Elliott? We've heard Zeke looks great, despite the report over the weekend that the Cowboys might rest him on Thursday against New Orleans. Do you think the Cowboys might surprise us in that sense on Thursday night?
I would like to say so, but I do not believe that. I think that the Cowboys typically have been overly optimistic, as you just listed a bunch of examples where it looked like players were in line to play, and then they didn't. Quite honestly, it's worrisome for him to say something like that, because it almost makes me wonder about, will we see him the following week? I'm not even sure DeMarcus Lawrence is going to play on Thursday. I mean, he will, right? He's gonna, right, guys? He's gonna play. Yes. But
we know you think yes, Sturge. We know.
But I mean, I know they're always trying to think positive, and sometimes it's a little bit too positive. And the reality is these guys aren't ready. So I don't think it's any type of reverse thing. I actually think it's more of a sign that things aren't as even that good.
So Dan doesn't subscribe to this notion. Is anybody willing to take my conspiracy theory and run with it? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Tony, I saw you unmute yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the way you're thinking, because like you said, they've been overly positive all week about these players just to sit them. And then in this instance, they're like, well, I don't know. Amari Cooper doesn't look so ready. He's got to show us something this week. And it's like, Jerry Jones coming out saying, yeah, we should have Amari Cooper this week. And then Mike pumping the brakes. It's kind of like the opposite of what it's been every week,
Well, remember, not to cut you off, Tony, but remember early in the season, Jerry does his morning radio hit on 105 through the Fan, says, yeah, Terrence Steele starting at right tackle. In his press conference, 20 minutes later, Mike McCarthy says, we haven't made any decisions at right tackle. Lo and behold, for Terrence Steele to start.
That's the one battle we haven't really touched on this year, is Mike's pressers versus Jerry's pressers, and just the contrast of those two people speaking minutes from each other. So it's been interesting. But yeah, I kind of buy into that, and I could honestly see them being like, wow, look at Amari Cooper, he's ready to go. We told you on Tuesday he wasn't going to play, and here it is. So I'm into that.
The old switcheroo. Tom, I want to ask you, because I don't think enough people have really talked about this. Maybe I've just been busy. But what was your thought on Thanksgiving when an hour and a half before kickoff, all the reports are Terrence Steele's out there starting at right tackle. He's taking all the first team reps. It's not Lyle Collins. I mean, how did that make you feel, Tom?
I'm real puzzled because I don't know what's going on. Is Collins just in the doghouse with him for some reason? I don't think there's
explain it. Explain it as best you can. However you can. I mean, there's no pressure to be right, but what makes the most sense to you?
That's the only thing I can figure is that they're not happy with Collins. Now he's going to be forced out there, which I think puts the better player at right tackle, and it may benefit the team in some way. I just need them to get settled down, and I really wish they'd reevaluate the whole Connor Williams, Connor McGovern swap, because I think on balance, Williams does more for them. Yeah, he had a run of penalties, but, as Sturch notes, the officials seem to have some weird prejudices about the Cowboys. And, maybe Williams can go out there and avoid getting called for a holding every other play. I just want to see them get something stable, because I think that's been the biggest problem with the running game. And it's just that's why I'm going into this not sure what I'm going to see at all. I felt like I knew what I was going to see the past couple of games, and I didn't. And so this time it's just like, okay, I'm not going to be very surprised by much of anything. The Cowboys could win by 30 or lose by 30, and I don't know either one would be shocking to me.
Aidan, I want to bring up a comment from Kevin. Says what they have been doing with the O-line makes no sense. They have broken the line, and the run game results prove it. Sturch, I'm going to come to you after this. Aidan, your thoughts after the second series of the game offensively when Lyle Collins came in at right tackle and Connor Williams came in at left guard, only to be reshuffled. Are you cool with this? Do you hate this? How are you feeling?
I mean, if I'm a Raiders fan, I like the move. But no, it's just, we talked about this on the 2-minute warning. You finally have your guys back. Tyron Smith's back out on the field. You have a completely healthy line. You finally have some time to gain consistency. So then why would you mess with it by then shuffling the entire line? And the comment, Kevin, great point. The run game has not been there since the bye week. And I think it's this constant shuffling that we're doing. Granted, Tyrone was out. I get that. But he was back last game, and the running game didn't impress me. So I'm just worried.
All right, Sturch. Silver and blue glasses on. Explain this one. Justify this for us, how the Dallas Cowboys could possibly be in the right for handling the offensive line the way they have over the last month.
They're not. They're not. They did not handle it well. I think the removal or at least the swap of McGovern and Williams is justified based off the penalty situation. I think that's 100% warranted.
So we're going to bench Anthony Brown?
I mean, I've been trying to bench Anthony Brown for a long time, but Catalina's over here thinking he's an all-pro. I would say that, as far as the offensive line is concerned, the benching and the swap there was justified. What they did at right tackle was completely, I don't even know what. I would never, and don't take this the wrong way for anybody out there with like sensitivity issues or anything like that, but like when Terrence Steele comes down with COVID, I'm like, darn. I know that Collins is going to get back to right tackle. You know what I mean? And I think he's the better of the two. And I think he's going to get his rightful spot back. And I think the running game is actually going to finally get going with Connor McGovern at left guard and Collins at right tackle. So I think this is your best five. They always talk about best five. This is your best five right here. And I think it finally gets going.
Dan, you noted on today's Cowboys Roundup that for the first time since 2019, the Cowboys will play Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, and Lyle Collins in a game. And funny note about that, a lot of people think that happened week one. But again, as you mentioned, Zach Martin was in the COVID protocol himself. Do you feel like this is the best assembly? Has what they've done made you doubt that this is the best assembly? Maybe doubt your own logic? I mean, how are you feeling about all this and the constant movement happening almost on a week-to-week basis?
So it's difficult because they've been doing so much shuffling, but honestly, I know I'm in the minority here, but I think Terrence Steele at right tackle is the right thing.
Ooh, does anybody agree with Dan? Sorry, Dan, just to see if
nobody agrees with me.
Okay.
You don't have to ask that. But I don't know if you saw a tweet I made a few days ago where I kind of listed and showed the rushing production based on which arrangement of offensive linemen they had in the one that stood out obviously was, Steele at right tackle. Of course, we had Tyron Smith and also Connor Williams. I don't know if there's any correlation there with that group, but I will say this, I do applaud them for giving McGovern a shot. We've all kind of been waiting for that to happen. And if they just keep doing this and try to get things to work, I'm fine with it, even though McCarthy preaches continuity, which he doesn't, follow.
Which he purposely disassembled, right?
Yeah. But I do trust the Cowboys coaching staff. I trust Philbin. I think that the right guy is out there. I think we all kind of just think that 2019 Lyle Collins is right there ready to play, and I haven't seen him at that level yet. And when that happens, then this discussion's over. I'll be with the rest of you guys. But right now, still just it seems like he's the right play there. That's my feelings.
Yeah, I mean, the last time Lyle Collins, just like if you want to be dramatic about it, played right tackle at an elite level, Joe Burrow was in college. You know what I mean? Like if you just, to put some perspective on it. I want to go around the horn here. So we'll go in clockwise order. Tony, you're up first. DJ Dog 31 says, put Connor Williams back at left guard and let's get McGovern back at his utility role. Don't tell me Williams gets too many penalties. Look what happened in the Raider game. Everybody, which Connor do you want to start at left guard? Tony.
I understand they're thinking, Connor Williams has had too many penalties. Let's put Connor McGovern out there and get a chance. I'm not a grass is greener type of guy. I just want the best player to play. And in this instance, they had to do a shakeup. I think in year 2 in his development, I think that Connor Williams has proven to be, better at this point in time. The potential may grow. There's a lot of people expecting big things from Connor McGovern, and I'm one of them. Right now, I think we all saw the jump from Connor Williams from year 1 to year 2, strength-wise, understanding. I think those things have to be accounted for, especially at the offensive line position. So I'm giving a long-winded answer to say, I think Connor Williams, if he could nip the penalties in the bud, he might just be a tick better of an offensive lineman at this point, but that doesn't have to speak towards the future and what Connor McGovern may end up being a better football player. But I think right now, Connor Williams may help this team in this current state.
Okay, that's one for Williams. Dan.
I agree with what Tony said, but I want to give McGovern a little more of a chance. You kind of saw how Steele did a little better. His second chance at left tackle. We're not even talking about Tyler Biotish anymore. You can see how giving him
That's
more opportunities. So I want to give McGovern a little more of an opportunity. So I'm going to stick with him.
So one for each. Aidan, whichever one you don't choose, that person's going to hate you. Who is your answer?
I'm going Connor Williams just because I really like how he does in the run game. I think he opens it up. And I understand the argument. You want your players to develop. You want your young guys that you will have on contract to develop. But this isn't baseball with a 162 game season where you can afford those development games. I want the best 5 out there at all times because we're trying to make a playoff run this year.
Okay, so 2 for Williams. Sturch, Chase said in the chat that you are always the voice of reason. But Chase did say no offense to anybody else. So no offense, Tony. No offense, Dan. No offense, Aidan. No offense, Tom. But Sturch, where are you at here, Williams or McGovern?
I think the better football player is Connor Williams. That's not for me, that's not really up for debate. I think when the move was made because of the penalties, it shows a little bit more of the aggressive side of Mike McCarthy saying, you're messing this up for us, kid. We're going to give the other guy a chance to kind of take you Wally Pipp situation, except for the no injury here, but just let's see what he's got. So I think they have to just ride out what they have right now, because the more you flip flop, the more the camaraderie just, it goes away. The gelling goes away. Stick with McGovern. Williams is the better player.
Yeah, it feels like when you're baking something and you're constantly taking it out of the oven to check, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't get the time. Right. Tom, the vote is 3-1, but if you make a compelling enough case, I'm willing to award you 3 points for this specific answer. But Williams, McGovern, where you at?
I'd go with Connor Williams because they're coming off of a 2-game winning streak with all this experimentation and trying to get the young player developed.
Losing streak to be
2-game losing streak. Did I say winning? I'm sorry.
Different.
Wishful thinking. They're coming off of the streak. They need to get Williams in there because I think he gives them the best chance to win this week and probably for the rest of this season. So just, stop with the development. Let's focus on the road ahead before we get to a situation where they are desperately having to win games. Right now, they've still got that 2-game lead in the NFC East. So let's not let that shrink.
Okay, so after this round of questioning, first awarding of points here tonight on this particular roundtable, Sturch, you get 5 points. I think you had the best answer, so congratulations to you for the early lead. However, Dan, 3 points to you for being brave enough to go out on an island, despite the fact that I don't agree with you. But still, I respect, the gall that you have. I don't hate the player or the game. I respect the move all the way around. Tom, you mentioned the NFC East, so we'll go back to you. Remember, guys, points are up for grabs all the time. F. Kit Crutch asks, with the Eagles losing Sunday, is anyone still afraid of losing the division? Tom, are you?
It's not impossible. The Cowboys have to win games. The rest of the schedule, they've got the Saints, they've got the Cardinals, then they've got the Giants, the Eagles, and the football team twice. And they've got to win those games. If they don't win those games, it could slip away. There's still enough time to fumble.
You're not answering
Now,
the question, Tom. Let's go. Let's get somewhere, please.
I was saying I'm worried about it. I don't know if it's a level of fear, but the Cowboys have to win to make that fear go away.
Okay, -2 points, back down to 3. Sturch.
Well, it's funny. Was this F Kit Crunch? Okay, all right. Well, he says, is anyone afraid of losing the division? This Cowboys team needs to win this division. You know, it has nothing to do with losing. Like the rest of the teams are hot garbage. I'm sorry, they're not good football teams. They're winning games despite their records. Like it's just doesn't make any sense to me. Last night or on Monday, we're watching the Washington football team take out Pete Carroll and Russ Wilson. Like that to me, it's just like what? And
Pete
then
Carroll and Russ Wilson also play for a Washington football team. Just to be very clear.
Say what?
They also play for a Washington football team. Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson do.
For love. I mean, I digress with that one, but and you're right. But then like the Eagles losing to the Giants, the rest of the division is just bad. It's just bad. So I'm not worried about losing the division. The Cowboys just have to go win the division. You just win 2 games right now. Win 2 games. Get to 9 wins at this point, and then I have it hard pressed to think that the other teams in the division can get to 9 wins. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of getting the amount of wins it's going to take. And since everybody's kind of writing everything off and saying that we're going to be the 4 seed, then so be it. You know what I mean? And I am, for the record, I don't think the Rams are solidified as the 5, by the way. I don't think that's the thing.
It's amazing. I feel like the Chiefs and the Raiders games here, like no answers, no nothing. I mean, this just like we just existed for these last 2 answers. You guys just took up 180 seconds of our lives. Aidan, could you please answer the question?
I am afraid of losing the division at this point because what I saw out of the football team last night, I understand it was Russell Wilson's not looking great since he came off the injury. The Seahawks as a whole are not a great football team, but that defense that we came into the season scared of, they're finally starting to gain some momentum. Heineke's looking like he's looked like a competent quarterback.
What? And he's the what best quarterback in the division?
Second.
Right? 2? Yeah, 2. Unless the only other argument would be Hurts, right? And he just
that's
lost
not a
to
good
the Giants. So yeah.
Okay. You were actually answering it, and I disrupted. Go ahead.
I mean, they looked good last night, and they definitely looked like a team that if the Cowboys played like they did against the Raiders or the Chiefs against the football team, that's a team that looks like they could beat the Cowboys now. So, yeah, I'm a little afraid, hoping things get back on track.
Okay. Respect on answering the question. Dan, Tony, the rules are clear. Dan, you're up first.
A little bit.
Measure that little bit. I mean, like 1 to 10 scale. Put a number on it.
Well, I mean, we keep losing games, so I don't know. I feel like I'm at a 3 level for losing the division. I think. I mean, I don't know. That's a little more panicky. I'm at a 2.
Wow.
The thing is, so Washington does control their own destiny. They're like the only team in our division that could actually don't need any help. You know, they haven't lost to the Cowboys yet, so they could essentially catch us by beating us twice and winning the tiebreaker. The thing is, the Cowboys are not going to keep playing like this, so it's really hard for me to think that any team's going to catch them. And I mentioned before, if that happens, we got bigger problems than not being able to beat out our teams in the division, because we're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. But so I mean, there's some worry. Obviously, losing 3 of the last 4 will create that. But I still feel like nobody's going to catch us. But there is a little bit.
Tony.
Short answer, no. And it would just take, the reason being, it would take like an epic collapse for this to end up happening. It would just take so much to go wrong for this team to lose this division just based on the start we had. I mean, seems like a year ago that they were 6-1. I mean, they've built enough early season equity to we're in a 2-game skid, and now we're talking about is everything burning around us, and we feel it, So at the end of the day, I'm not as worried, because the teams in the division besides the Cowboys, and I mean, I guess you could throw the Cowboys in there, but they're just so finicky. You know what I mean? Like you said, Washington looks like they're coming together, and it's like, and so did the Eagles, and then they lose to the Giants, and it just, do you feel any confidence that this team can just well, the other teams in the division can go out and just beat anybody at any point in time. And it might come to a point where if the Cowboys just win and, they get a couple wins and they get off, their back here, the season just might run out of time. And maybe that doesn't sound great about winning the division, but the Cowboys have time on their hands and the schedule seems to be favorable. And they have these teams that are, the ones that we should watch out for, like Washington and Philly. And, we have them on our schedule. So we can handle everything. We can, take care of all family business if we have to and want to. So I'm not really worried about the division because there's so much left in front of us.
All right. I've decided Tony had the best answer. Tony, congratulations. 10 points to you because you had a short answer and a long answer. You fleshed it out. Early lead. The worst answer, in case anybody's keeping score, was Sturch. Just so we're all aware. On the subject of the Cowboys doing well, I saw Chase said in the comments the Cowboys should start prepping for a 49ers matchup come playoff time. Aidan, I want to go to you. I said that I think the Cowboys are kind of firmly entrenched in that 4-seed spot. I think we can firmly establish they're not going to get the 1 seed, not going to get that first round bye. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. What seed do you think the Cowboys will earn come playoffs? And I don't have it on the graphic here, but but are you afraid of anybody else, or any wild card team? So two-part question for everybody. What seed do you think the Cowboys are on track to ultimately earn? And are there any wild card teams that scare you because the Rams have looked a little bit more hollow as of late?
This is tough just because I don't know the other team's schedule. I'd say probably the 4 seed just because we don't have the tiebreaker with the Bucks. And it's kind of like where we are in the division where I think we're running out of time to start gaining ground on any of the other teams. So I'd say 4 seed. With that being said, I still think the Rams, I'm still a little bit afraid of the Rams just because, it's the Rams. That offense, it's a very solid defense. I know they have been playing well, but yeah, I'm a little afraid of them.
Sturch, are you feeling like the 2 seed's still possible? You see the Packers collapsing, 3 seed? Because again, to Aidan's point, Tampa has the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. And right now, Dallas is therefore a game and a half behind. They would need a lot of things to go their way to certainly wind up with a 2 seed, let alone the 3 seed. That's why I personally think the 4 seed is just kind of what's ultimately going to happen. Do you see it that way? Are you more optimistic? How are you feeling?
I'm a little bit more optimistic because right now, as doom and gloom as it seems, and the Cowboys are 7-4, they're 5-1 in the NFC. So they definitely have a really good NFC conference record. And there you go.
Kyle's point is in agreement with you, right?
Yeah, my boy, the sauce right there. I agree completely, and I think that the Cowboys being 5-1, and then the rest of the season on with the Cardinals on their schedule, I still think the Cardinals. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a gut feeling. I don't know. That they might fold a little bit, and
they'd have to fold a lot for Dallas to catch them.
Not necessarily because they're on the schedule, and it's only
so you're assuming a Cowboys win in week 17.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's our last home game of the year. It's our last home game of the year, and I think that game could be the Cowboys. Keep in mind, and I don't know how many people on the team or within the organization believe in like bulletin board material. But remember, when Kyler Murray was asked about if he was a Cowboys fan, he said, "Nah, man, they were ass." Like people remember this
when he was growing up. To be clear, he didn't
doesn't
say
matter.
Doesn't
matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Let's just be literal and accurate. Let's give
he's
Kyler
knocking,
just a
he's
shred
knocking
of
the team. He's knocking the team. There's going to be a couple guys. One named Micah Parsons. One named Randy Gregory. One named DeMarcus Lawrence. But we'll get there when we get there. As far as seeding is concerned, I think Dallas can move up to as high as 3, and I would give the 1-2 to Green Bay and Tampa. And I think with the win over the Cardinals in week 17 and a couple things going our way and us winning games throughout December, I think the Cowboys can get up to 3 and then play, what is it, the 6? Yeah, right. That would be the 6th seed, in which I think that might be the Rams. You know what I mean? So I think that the Cowboys being the 3 seed, they could still host the Rams because I believe, I don't know why, maybe it's just like I'm more of a time of possession guy. And like, if the 49ers can just keep not making mistakes and run the football the way they've been running it, I think the Niners got a really good shot to just surprise a lot of people and get that 5th seed.
That'd be really funny if the Cowboys did scratch and claw their way up to the 3 seed and still wound up hosting the Rams, which is what we've been afraid of all year long. Tom, Underground West says Green Bay looks unbeatable right now. Do you agree with this? Are you willing to concede that whatever seed Dallas has, they're ultimately going to be behind Green Bay?
I don't think anybody's unbeatable because
Call them out, Tom. Say their frauds.
Chaos has been the name of the game in the NFL. You're seeing every week you see scores that are like, what? It just doesn't make any sense. I think Green Bay definitely has the best track, I think, to be the number 1 seed just because of Aaron freaking Rodgers. I think the Cowboys are probably trending towards the 4th seed, but there are plenty of scenarios they could get the 3 or maybe even into the discussion for the 2. It's kind of interesting how this could track out because they could be scrambling the rest of the way just to hang on to the 4th seed by winning the NFC East. They could come into that game against the Cardinals with a seed on the line in the game, or they could go into that game with everything locked up and basically be selectively resting some of their players the last 2 games. It's just it's right now this close to the end of the season. There is so much flux possible that you didn't used to see.
I want to adjust my question and frame it to you, Tony, this way. It is possible, as Tom mentioned, for Dallas's game against Arizona, which is the penultimate week of the regular season, to be meaningless. I mean, that they could have won the NFC East and really, have any movement be impractical or unlikely. How would you feel, Tony, about 2 meaningless games before the wild card round for the Cowboys? Would you be happy to rest up, again, depending on how things shake out between now and then, or would you be nervous about the Cowboys not playing a game of consequence until the playoffs?
I would be happy in a sense, the fact that by that point, if those 2 meaningless games, it means we took care of business leading up to that, right? So we're winning football games and we secured and took care of what we had to. But then knowing how this team has reacted coming off a bye week and how they act when they have a little bit of time off, that would concern me a bit. I think we've seen historically that it doesn't really work in this favor too often with teams, and I would like to keep striking while the iron's hot, and I don't want them to come into 2 weeks where it's like, oh, we already got it sewn up and we're established to where we're going to be. There is no, further goal. Let's not get hurt. That would scare me, especially 2 weeks, because it's not like you've earned a bye week in the first round of the playoffs and then you go in there. But you're talking about 2 regular season games. You're going to play in wild card weekend, and it's tough to from 0 to 100 and to go real quick like that would be a definite concern for me.
Dan, if you had to bet your life savings right now on the Cowboys being 1 seed, what would it be? You don't actually have to bet this, just to be very clear.
To pick the seed they're going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be the 4th. Yeah, I don't see. I mean, they blew their opportunity to not be the 4th, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of time left, and there's a lot of stuff crazy stuff that's happened, and it could still happen. But like Aidan said, the Bucs have the tiebreaker. The Packers won a game on Sunday that kind of was hoping they, counting on them losing. I think it's gonna be really hard for them to move into a better seed, and I think they're gonna play the Rams. I know San Francisco is hot right now, but the Rams worry me. I still think that I think they'll get things right, just like we expect the Cowboys to get right. I think the Rams will get right too, and then it comes down to the play of Matthew Stafford. So, but to be honest, everything scares me. Even when the Cowboys were winning, all it takes is one bad game in the playoffs, and we're back to McCarthy's no better than what we had. He can't get us past the division. So I mean, anything can happen there. So I mean, I'm scared of everything.
40 points to Dan for the most vulnerability. You guys should all let your guards down, really.
That's gonna clinch it here.
Now's the time to share. On the subject of points, there is somebody that is costing the Dallas Cowboys. Now, normally when we do these roundtables, I give these guys the 411 in terms of what we're going to talk about. As always, Aidan whipped up something for us to look at. And if you're listening to the podcast version of this, we certainly encourage you to check out either blogoftheboys.com or our social media to see the graph that we were about to discuss. But if you're watching it, obviously you can see it. Aidan, the time has come to talk about Greg Zuerlein. And as Kevin notes, by the way, Zuerlein bad in the comment section. And I think bad is being kind based on what you're about to say. Aidan, I'll give you the floor. Go ahead.
Well, if you feel like Greg Zuerlein misses kicks early, he always comes out in the clutch, it's because he does. What we're seeing from Zuerlein is He has a.
I'll go to the other slide. Yeah. Or sorry, in this I'll keep it here first. My bad.
No, we can go to the next slide. So what we're seeing from Zuerlein is he's missing kicks, or it's a 76% conversion rate on extra points and field goals in the second quarter. That is ridiculous. And what's happening is while it might not be that bad, oh, it's 3 points here, 1 point there, who cares? It's costing us later in the game. And sure, he makes clutch kicks, but the Cowboys' winning percentage when Zuerlein misses a kick is 61%. I mean, and we're not talking about these all occurred in 2020 when Dak was out. We're talking about games where, I mean, the only 2 games you can really point out where Zuerlein missed a kick and we were going to lose anyway is the Ravens and the Cardinals. Outside of that,
2020 though, just to be clear, because we're looking at
right. Yeah. Outside of that, every kick that Zuerlein's missed has impacted the Cowboys in some way, especially because he's missing them right at the beginning of the game, and it sets a tone for the rest of the game. And so I am disgusted.
So for anyone who's watching on a phone, maybe you can't see the numerical values here. Greg Zuerlein's field goal and extra points, so his overall kick percentage by quarter. In the first quarter, Tom, he is 85.7% accurate. The second quarter, as Aidan mentioned, 77% if you want to round up. The third quarter, 89%. The fourth quarter, a little bit better, 94%, again, rounding up. In the final 2 minutes of a game and in overtime, he is 100% accurate, Tom. So he really is this, like, not Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, he's this extraordinary specimen in some ways, and that he is remarkably clutch in the moments that the team needs him to be. However, a huge reason why they need him to be is because he has helped dig these massive holes with his misses in the game all the way leading up to there. And I think some people, Tom, would say, you know what, I'll take this guy. I'll take the guy who can make the money kick at the very end of games. But is this satisfactory to you? I mean, are you pleased? Are you okay? Are you fine riding this ride? I mean, looking at this data, Tom, what are your thoughts?
My thought is we need to quit trotting him out for long field goals in the second quarter when it's a bad decision. I put some of this on Mike McCarthy for deciding to roll Zuerlein out to try, a 53-yarder, from when it's still like 3 minutes left and the other team has plenty of time to march back down and put their own points up on the board if Zuerlein misses.
He also did that in the season opener, to your point, Tom, against Tampa, and nobody really cared about that, but Tom Brady did get a pass off that ultimately did enter the airspace of the end zone and therefore presented a threat to the Cowboys. Granted, Jordan Lewis picked that up, but the point still stands.
Yeah, and I'm not completely happy with Zuerlein. I think that there's a little bit too much trust in him. But right now, it's too late. I think they had a chance to make a switch, but they didn't. They had a guy that hit everything they asked him to. And now I've forgotten how to pronounce his last name after working so hard on Liram's name beforehand. But he's what they've got. And I think they need to focus on not putting him into those low percentage situations and just use him, stay aggressive on fourth down when they're down in the other end of the field. I don't like some of the situations and some of the logic in trying to trot him out there because it's not working out. And I think it's time to just recognize the fact that when you're having someone kick long distance field goals, it's by nature a low percentage proposition, and they just need to get away from that.
Dan, look, Greg Zuerlein's a wonderful person, and he has made some incredible kicks for the Cowboys. He's had some incredible moments, but have you seen enough? I mean, is this data enough to have you say, if you were in charge, you know what, let's find another option? Or are you comfortable kind of flipping this coin? I mean, Greg Zuerlein has almost missed a kick in almost 50% of the games that he has played as a Dallas Cowboy. So you're almost banking on the fact that every other week he is going to miss a kick of some kind.
Yeah, I don't know why I have to always, defend Mike McCarthy against you guys, but can't you trust in his decision to stick with Zuerlein? I mean, so here, my
so your team Zuerlein, because we're gonna pick sides right now, Dan. So you're team Greg.
I'm on the fence, but on the Z fence still. I'm still with Zuerlein. So, if you look at his range of kicks of what he's really good under 50 minus extra points. He's really good. I mean, and that's something that I think we need to appreciate. He's missed some long ones. He's not hitting those with the same accuracy as he used to. A couple of them have been really long. But he's missed 3 extra points this year. He missed 3 extra points last year. I don't know what's going on. If you take a look at him, sometimes he's kicking it from the center, sometimes he's over on the left, and I think he's trying to overcompensate. So he's trying to work this out. But I really think he's still a good enough kicker. I don't think great kickers are just out there for the picking. We never saw Hyrulahu. We never saw him kick field goals. I mean, we don't know what he'll be like in pressure situations, and so I'm sticking with Z for the time being.
Okay, so Dan is Team Zuerlein. Sturch, I'll allow you to make your case. Are you with Dan? Are you on the other side? Remember, points are up for grabs. Zuerlein won't get them, but maybe you will.
I don't think it's fair that we have to panic about every single extra point. And that's what you do when Greg Zuerlein lines up. I'm sorry. And missing an extra point isn't just like missing an extra point. Oh, well, that's such a momentum boost. Because if you think about it, flip the coin. When somebody scores on you,
so Greg Zuerlein is like kicking, by the way, is flipping a coin.
Yes. And that's a problem, right? I mean, but think about it. Like when another team scores a touchdown against us, if they miss the extra point, you're like, wow, that's big. I feel a little bit better about this. It's only like 2 field goals, not really a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of situation that Greg Zuerlein puts us in every time he gets out there. And that's kind of crap. Like I know the answer might not be there for the Cowboys right now, but it's very unacceptable to accept this. You know what I mean? To say like, okay, good luck. He's been clutch in the fourth quarter. Like, he's only clutching the fourth quarter because he's making us get to those points in the fourth quarter where we have to make a kick. Because had he made the other kicks, we might not be in that situation in the first place.
So just to be clear, your team anti-Greg.
I'm anti-Greg. Okay. Zuerlein's got to go.
So 1-1. We have another graphic to show. Aidan and I was flip-flopping. Could you explain this to us before the rest of us make our case for what team we are on here?
Yeah, and this is the point that Sturch was making. When Greg Zuerlein misses a kick, nearly 50% of the time, the game ends up a 1 to 3 point loss or a 4 to 7 point loss. So you're talking about a 1-score game when Greg Zuerlein misses a 1-score loss when Greg Zuerlein misses a kick. Now, on the flip side, when Greg Zuerlein misses a kick, he's missed 18 kicks, PATs, and field goals since he's joined the Cowboys. 10 out of those 18 times when Greg Zuerlein misses, it's a 1-score. Cowboys are losing by 1 score. I mean, it's like we talked about. Sure, it's just 1 kick at the beginning of the game, but further down the road, when you have a chance to come back by a field goal, Greg Zuerlein's not making those kicks early in the game, and it's only getting worse.
Tony, what team are you on? I mean, were you already anti, Greg, and after listening to this, you're even more pissed off? I mean, like, how are you feeling? Because, right now the score is 1-1, Dan versus Sturch.
I'm reluctantly Team Zuerlein, but that's not an endorsement of him. That's more so an indictment of what's out there. And I truly, to me, it's great to see Aidan put numbers to how I feel, because when we score a touchdown, we have a big drive. I hold my breath more on an extra point than I do late in the game, 52-yard field goal. I'm like, I'll look at my fiance and be like, he's going to drill this to put us in overtime. And then the extra point, I'm like, he's going to really screw the math up when he misses this field goal. I got her screaming at him during the middle of games now. So it's just one of those things where I just don't understand why he can't make the routine or the mundane. He makes the easy look hard. And I'm just like, why? I just don't understand. I don't know if it's, I don't want to, put this out there, but I don't know if it's a lack of focus or a lack of, like, he needs the big game situation, big shot, like 3-pointer at the buzzer type situation, but just go out there and make the
data supports that. Like, that's a real, like, you can make that point.
Go make the 3-foot putt.
No, that's the thing, dude. He can't make the 3-foot putt. He wants to chip in, off the fringe or from the sand. Like he doesn't believe his putter is his least favorite club in the bag. So your teams are aligned incorrect, man. You're really setting yourself up for some negative points. Tom, Calvin Jefferson says kicking and coaching has cost us games. You can directly point out how Greg Zuerlein has cost the Cowboys 2 of their 4 losses. What team are you on, Tom?
Well, I'm anti-Zuerlein. I don't know if there's an answer now, but I want a guy who's clutch on extra points and who's very solid inside of 40 and just gives you a chance on the long ball. I think that's the way to go instead of looking at this guy that, he can boom in those 53-yard field goals when we need them, at the end of the game, because you shouldn't be getting to that situation so often. You ought to be, getting the points that you have right there in front of you, not missing it wide left on what should be an easy field goal, and not have to worry about it later on. So, yeah, I don't know if there's an answer now, but I would really like them to take a deep, long look at him after the season's over.
To stick with the golf analogy, I don't know that this will hit on anybody, but Zuerlein is like Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, big leg, but you never know where that thing's ended up. Thank you, Bear. What we need is Colin Morikawa. We don't need the big, leg off the tee. Just put it in the fairway. That's what we need. That's the easier shot.
So basically,
you have some thoughts.
Well, I'm just saying. So basically, for the non-golf fans, if you're a movie fan, it's Happy Gilmore. That's the long drive, and you just don't know where it's going to go. Can't putt for crap. But that's the lamest terms for people who don't know who Bryce DeChambeau is.
I would imagine that most Dallas Cowboys fans know who Bryson DeChambeau is, given that he's a Dallas, local, kind of a prominent person in the Metroplex. No big deal. Kind of a famous person. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, we don't need that. And so, Sturch, you're up. It's 2-1. Team anti-Greg. Oh no, you've already made your case. Have you not?
He's done. He's done. But can we shout out? Like I'm not the guy that controls the comments or whatever. But Donnie King with his chili dog reference is probably the best thing I've read.
Read
all
it
night.
For us, Sturch.
Greg Zuerlein is like, the chili dogs I'm having tonight. He could be saucy with his fancy watermelon kicks, but he still gives me indigestion at the wrong time. That's fantastic. Like, that is like money. That is the most accurate thing I've ever read tonight.
Give him the points for this one.
Yeah, seriously. Give him the points.
Donnie, you get some points. But so it is, I've lost track. I guess 3-1. No, it's 2-2 because Sturch and Tom are anti-Greg. Tony and Dan are Team Greg, foolishly, I might add. Aidan, you compiled the data. Pick your team.
I mean, yeah, I'm anti-Greg.
There you go.
The main thing is I understand the argument that, we're trotting him out for long field goals, but 3 out of the 4 quarters that Greg Zuerlein kicks in, he's not at the NFL average. I'm not calling for the Cowboys to sign.
Let's put that up again, Aidan. Can you roll through that, please?
Yeah. So third quarter, he's below the NFL average. Second quarter, he's my math's off, right? He's 12 points below the NFL average. And then the first quarter, he's also below the NFL average. So you're talking about 3 out of the 4 quarters that Greg Zuerlein kicks in, he's not even an average NFL kicker. So we're not talking about a Justin Tucker, let's go find that guy. I'm just sign an average kicker at this point.
Dan, Tony, when the context is put that way, do either of you want to jump over to Team Anti-Greg? There's 4 of us here.
I just want to mention that we need to, if we're going to point out the games that he cost us because of the missed kicks, we should also, credit him for the games that he's won.
Totally. That's what this 100% accuracy in the final 2 minutes in overtime is. I mean, he's responsible for some epic moments and some epic wins. But again, he's partly created those circumstances that, those could have been boring, mundane wins instead of these dramatic thrillers that he ultimately won. He's making it all about himself, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would also like the Cowboys offense to kind of not make it about Greg Zuerlein too, and not make it to where we're always worried about that kick that he didn't make. So I mean, I think we might be a little bit. I know it's frustrating. We want our kicker to make kicks. Not everybody's Dan Bailey, but I think we might be just trying to look for a scapegoat right now, and right now Zuerlein's the guy.
Dan is very leave Greg alone, like in that Britney voice.
He's not that bad. Okay.
You said he's not Dan Bailey, but to Aidan's point, I'm like, I don't even want Dan Bailey. I want Michael Badgley. I want Matt Prater. Like that's what I mean, yeah, I mean, Nick Folk right now. I mean, I want, again, we're not asking for perfection. We're asking for NFL average. By the way, thank you to FKit Crutch for the super chat. It says go home ball, get in your home. Thanks to Sturch. Tony, do you want to reconsider your position or do you want to go down with the ship?
I'm not a Greg Zuerlein truther. I'm just looking at what's available. And, I'm not a grass is always green on the other side guy. Like this guy can hit the big kicks in the big moment. We just need him to make the little kicks in the little moments. And then we can have a totally different conversation. What are we going to do? I mean, you've got to pull a list. They've already had a tryout. They've had a guy come in here and hit 5 extra points in a row, and he looked good doing it. I'm not going to lie. Like, every kick looked confident. Every kick looked good. But at the end of the day, like, we still haven't seen a man in a Cowboys uniform in the last 2 years kick a field goal, an actual field goal that is at the same level as Greg Zuerlein. I know it's not great, but, I mean, it's more so like, what are we going to get?
I think Dina Simpson put it really well here in the comments that if my doctor was only accurate on my deathbed, I would still be irritated. And that's kind of who Greg Zuerlein is to a certain degree. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. FKit Crutch says, what about a 2-kicker system? Shout out to David Beeler, of course. Everybody remembers the days of that. Tom, I guess the last point here, as we unpack the Greg Zuerlein situation or conversation is, I think a lot of people are frustrated by this, particularly because he seems like a case of, for lack of a better word, nepotism. He's John Fossil's guy. So John Fossil's going to ride with him to the very end. Brett Maher was, this, crazy, ride or whatever, but the Cowboys ultimately discarded him. And, at least as of now, he is a more accurate overall kicker as a Dallas Cowboy than Greg Zuerlein is. Brett Maher was, that is. Is that part of it for you, Tom? I mean, does that add to the frustration, at least, that it does seem to be like John Fossil being stubborn down to the very end with his guy? Because like you were the one who said, Tom, that pointed out rightly that the NFL is a chaotic mess. I mean, we're seeing all sorts of close, one-score, down-to-the-wire games. And, the Cowboys know that that's the case. And they're really going to go into this playoff run, hopefully, with that particular factor, that variable.
Yeah, that is part of the frustration, is the fact that I don't think it's a question for us. I don't think it's a question inside the building. I think it's a closed deal that he's going to be the kicker, and yeah, that's frustrating because I remember how much it took the wind out of the sails against the Raiders when the Cowboys went down and it looked like they were going to tie the game. Boop, missed the extra point. That just was a gut shot.
Well, good talk on Greg Zuerlein. Aidan, you have one more point.
Yeah, this could be. We haven't talked about the Brett Maher revenge game this week potentially.
Oh, go off, Aidan. Go for it.
I don't know if Lutz is going to be back, but if Maher comes in and is more accurate in this game than Zuerlein,
I mean, Aidan, you are putting some bad juju in the world right now, dude. You cannot go out there and say Brett Maher is going to have a revenge game against the Dallas Cowboys, even though that sounds as poetic as it really probably will be.
I didn't say he's going to. I just said we haven't acknowledged the potential.
Yeah, man, but you don't want to mess with juju in New Orleans. That is just one of the basic rules of life.
Here's how this unfolds, to Aidan's point. The Cowboys, with the game tied with a minute and 48 seconds left, can't convert on 3rd and 4. And they trot Greg Zuerlein out for a 57-yard field goal. He misses it. He gives the Saints promising field position. Taysom Hill pulls teeth just to get Brett Maher within range for a 54-yard field goal to win it, and he kicks it in the final seconds. Tony, how would that make you feel?
Disgusted.
But could you see it happen? Could you not see it happening?
Of course. I mean, the way the Cowboys are losing, I can see anything happen. You know what I mean? Everybody's getting their revenge tour on us. So I was
having such a good day today too, man. It was so weird.
Sturch, okay, let's tie a pretty bow on this. Give us one bit of everyone. Let's. I didn't prep anybody on this, but big shock. Everyone is now held to giving us one bit of positivity entering the week of Thursday Night Football against the Saints. Nobody can copy anybody. Sturge, since you have been upset the most by the accurate but negative things concerning the Cowboys, you get to go first. Enlighten us.
I think it's a big deal that CeeDee Lamb gets back on the field. As far as Amari Cooper is concerned, we don't know yet, but CeeDee Lamb is going to be back on the field, and it takes off the number 1 wide receiver tag to a Michael Gallup, even though Michael Gallup might still line up as like your wide receiver 1. I think that pressure got to Michael Gallup a little bit, and I think he's still good for big plays, but having CeeDee Lamb on that field and turning like, Noah Brown and Cedric Wilson into the 3-4 that they are naturally, and it's not a discredit to their talent level. It's just that those are the better roles for those guys. I think that the passing game gets going this week, and it's, I won't take up anybody else's stuff. So CeeDee Lamb getting back on the field is a very, very good thing for this offense.
Dan, you get to go next since you were the most upset about the Greg Zuerlein conversation. I don't want anybody to steal your answer. Tom's going last, just so everybody knows.
Well, Tank's back, so I'm real excited to see our 2 best defensive players playing together. And so I really think that will be a fun time for the Cowboys defense. And, without saying other things, I'm excited about Tank being back.
Okay, so we have CD being back. We have Tank being back. Aidan, you're up next. Brett Maher is an eligible answer, just to be clear.
I don't think I heard the question right. Could you?
One bit of positivity. Give us one positive thing. Put some positive energy into the space since you dirtied it up a moment ago.
Yeah, you ruined it, Aidan.
I'll say that I think this is not going to completely copy Sturchio's answer, but I think Kellen Moore can finally get a little creativity pumped into this offense now. Dak's had enough time to recover. CD's finally back. I think we'll see what happens at offensive line. I think the most important thing is I think he now realizes he needs to get creative if the offense is going to move. So I think we get back on track with creativity this week, and that's the thing I'm looking forward to.
3 good answers. This question's worth 93 points, so a lot hangs in the balance. Tony.
For me, I think this game could be a springboard. I think with everything that's gone on with the COVID this week, the coaches being down, players being out, everything that's gone on compounded with the 2-game losing streak. If they can find a way to win this game, right, and they find a way to get back on track, I think they can get that mojo back. I think they can get that swagger back. I think this is a massive chance to walk into New Orleans. I don't care who's the quarterback. I don't care who isn't the quarterback. I don't care who's playing. If they go out there, win this game with DeMarcus Lawrence back, CeeDee Lamb back, knowing they got 10 days to get ready for Washington, with some more people coming, I think this could be the start of us changing our tune on this team. And I know we've had a tough month. November was not good to anybody. But I think if this could be the jump into December that we've all been waiting for, that can put us back in a happy place.
That was a really good answer. Tom, you're up next, although I don't really see the point given Tony's answer. But go ahead. Give it a try.
Well, because of Dan's answer, with DeMarcus Lawrence being back, Micah Parsons may just be about to be unleashed. And we may have just seen the beginning for him. And that has me rather excited.
just rather excited.
Bang, done. Drop the mic.
Does anybody have any thoughts on who should win? And anybody want to be selfless or selfish? It's up to you. Not speaking out, forever hold your peace.
I give it to the guy above me.
Aidan, you were pointing off screen, so everybody except for Tom pointed at Tony. So congratulations, tonight's roundtable winner, Tony Catalina. That was great. I totally agree with you. The fact that the Cowboys could win this game and then get the week and a half and just take a breath after this crazy month, this crazy week, it'd be awesome for Dan Quinn. And then, to your point, have that advantage going into a road divisional game. I know they're trash, but it's still a big game consequentially, that is. But fantastic answer from all of our panelists, as always. But Tony, do you have anything to say? Anybody you want to thank? I mean, perhaps your fiance, just giving you some advice. That might be a direction you want to go in.
Don't do it, bro.
I can't give it to her. I gotta, first off, I gotta thank me, I'm just kidding. Nah, let's just get a win today.
Thrown at him. There's something that just whips by his head real quick.
Yeah, let's get a win this week. That's all I care about. Let's get back on the right side of things.
Score predictions before we get out of here. So Tony, you're up first. Who wins? What's the score?
I would say the feel-good feeling comes back 34-17.
Dan.
I'm going to say the feel-good feeling does not come back. 26-20 Nolans.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
Sorry. Show me something first.
I'm
Show
gonna
me
sign off
something.
now.
Show me, now that I've ruined Dave's day.
Yeah, Dan, seriously, dude. I mean, we were all on a high after Tony's
He wasn't having a good time anyway.
Wow. Aidan, who wins score?
Well, you can quick plug my prediction articles out on Blogging the Boys, but I think 26-24. I think the Saints defense will be able to contain the offense, but I think Cowboys win in the end. 26-24 Cowboys.
Way to build the drama. That was really, really, really well done. I mean, like a great movie. By the way, who got their No Way Home tickets? This guy did. No big deal. I don't know. Okay, because somebody else did. But Sturch, who wins score?
No Way Home. Is that Spider-Man?
Don't act like you didn't know that, Sturge. Come on. Don't be that person.
24-21, the Dallas Cowboys finally get off the schneid. And they, I tell you right now what's going to happen as a really good, deep dive prediction. 24-21 Dallas. Taysom Hill gets the ball last, drives it all the way down the field, and Brett Maher misses a field goal, and the Cowboys win the game.
Oh, my gosh. The poetry behind that. Tom, who wins score, and what will you be eating on game day?
I have no idea what I'm going to be eating on game day because I don't think that far ahead about my food. And I've got the Cowboys winning 24-13 because I don't think the Taysom Hill thing is going to work out that well. And the Cowboys will be able to play fairly, carefully and not have to do anything spectacular to just get a win out of it.
Okay. All of you had great answers except for Dan. Dan, you're awesome, but not a good answer here. Nobody was fond of this. Tony, as our winner, you get to walk us out. The last, however many words belong to you, sir. Take us home. Hey, this is where you speak,
win.
Tony.
Let's just win. Period. Sweet and simple.
It's 4 words.
I can't wait to leave the locker room and hit the field now, Tony. That was really really passionate. Sturch, end us strong. Jeez, I mean, gosh.
The Dallas Cowboys have had the worst month of November. We all saw one game where we're like, oh, this could be the real team, and then we just saw them lose a bunch of games. New month, new season, 6 games left. They're up 2.5 in the division. Let's start this strong. Let's get out there. Let's take care of business. Let's show the world why the Dallas Cowboys, the 2021 Dallas Cowboys, are special this year. Let's do it this week.
That's how it's done. By the way, went 2021 as opposed to 2021. That's a guy who appreciates numbers and years. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.